Welcome to Thrive, Transformative Strategies for the New Year, the CLA virtual conference poised to redefine your approach to success. Today, we unite under the banner of innovation, ready to forge new paths in personal and professional growth. Each speaker today brings unique insights to propel us forward. Get ready to explore innovative strategies that will enhance your growth journey in 2024.
Welcome, everyone. My name is JR, and I am the owner of Business Leaders Network. And today I'm going to be talking all about Events Mastery Blueprint, where I'm going to teach you guys why you guys can thrive in having an in-person event and why you need, every single one of you guys need to do that. Because people in today's generation are hungry for connection. They're hungry for community. They're hungry to just be with people. And so for me, in-person events is the one thing that really catapulted my businesses where, from the very beginning. And I'll take you back to, from my very first business that I started in 2007. So I get back from Iraq, didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I didn't want to work for anyone. So I started a martial arts school, knew how to teach martial arts, knew how to lead people, but I had no clue how to run a business. And so I hired a coach. And that coach had to work on three different things for me. And it was the three things that technically that I have observed that keeps most of you entrepreneurs listening to this, from the success that you guys want to achieve. And it always starts with your belief. I first had to believe that I was worth more than I was even charging for it. And, growing up in the martial arts, I was so used to the model where people would pay $50 a month to come and train, and come to the studio whenever they wanted to. But if little Johnny or whoever wanted, got sick or had soccer season, whatever, they didn't show up. And then therefore I wasn't getting paid for that month. And it was a very hard way to continue in building a business that could sustain and provide for me and my family. So my coach had to really teach me on, the belief that is the bad way of actually running a business, but knowing that I was worth more than that. I was terrified of giving someone a contract and saying, hey, you know what, you're going to sign up for a 12 or 36-month contract for my program. And to me, that was just super scary. So I had to break through that belief of saying, hey, you know what, I am worth more than this. People are willing to pay for it because there is value in there. The second thing that I had to really learn how to do was create an offer, because I had to figure out what is that belief, but I had to figure out or have that belief that matched that offer. But that offer had to be so irresistible that when I would present it to someone, that they would say, yes, I want to have what you are offering and be able to give. And most of the time, people are not giving an offer that is the irresistible, where people want to say yes. And so there's four different things that when it comes to creating an irresistible offer, I'm going to run through this really quick. So as you guys are listening to this, or if you're watching this replay, make sure you're taking notes. But the first thing that you got to really understand when creating an irresistible offer is you got to know who your target audience is. Who are the people that you're going after, and what are the problems that they have that you can solve? And when you are not clear on who your target audience is, you're just going to continue throwing things at a wall and hoping and praying that they stick. But when you really understand who your perfect client is, it makes it a lot easier to be able to track them to your world and be able to provide and create a service that they want. The second thing, when it comes to creating an irresistible offer, is you got to know your competitive advantage. Now, there are a lot of people that I talk to and they're saying, hey, there's no competition. No one's doing what I'm doing. But the reality is your customers are buying from someone else that is not you. So you got to know, not necessarily let's just get rid of the competitive, who's my competition. Think about where are your customers buying from instead of you. And you got to know what they're providing, what people are buying from, so that way you can help create your offer that matches the need of your perfect client. The third thing when it comes to creating an irresistible offer is going to be your value stack. The value of your offer needs to be 10 times greater than the price that you sell it for. And that's giving a line item, saying you're going to get this, 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 and this, and here's the value of each item. But it becomes so irresistible that everyone wants to have it. And the fourth thing, when it comes to creating an irresistible offer, is going to be eliminating risk with a guarantee. Most of the time, people are not buying from you because they're scared. They're scared and have a fear that, and don't have the trust that you are going to be able to help them with the problems that they have. So understanding your target audiences, understand the competitive advantage, creating that value stack that is 10 times greater than the price you sell it for, but also making sure that you eliminate that risk with a guarantee. So that's the second thing when it comes to that. One of my coaches had to teach me. It was like, I first had to have the belief to be able to charge what I was worth. But then the second thing was I had to make sure I had the irresistible offer. And the third thing was I had to have that message that people understood. because a confused mind is never going to buy. And if you are conveying a message and delivering your offer, but people don't understand what it is, and you get that confused look, you're never going to be able to sell anything. And this is important to know, especially when it comes to events, because if you don't have the right mindset and belief that you are worth what you're going to sell, or the right offer to present when you're running events, or even knowing how to convey your message, you're going to continue staying stuck, and you're never going to be able to plunge forward to reach the goals that you want to achieve. So when I had my martial arts school and I hired my first coach, he challenged me to host my first event. And I've done so many different events in my entire life leading up to this point, growing up in a martial arts school, but I never did it in a way that was able to generate revenue. And I want to break two different beliefs that people may be thinking, or what they're being told when it comes to running in-person events. One, they're told that when you're running an event, it's okay to lose money because you're going to make it on the back end. Well, the second myth is it's okay to break even at your in-person event because you're generating leads and you'll make it in the back end. But it takes a lot of time, focus, and energy and resources to run an event. And the truth is, you don't need to lose money, and you don't need to break even when it comes to running the event. So when it comes to running any type of event, you need to be profitable from it. And there's definitely a system and process for you to follow to make sure you do so. And I'm going to go through some key steps that I do with a lot of my clients, so that way when you guys are launching an event, that you have the right system, the process that you can deploy and making sure that you are profitable. So I'm hosting my first event. It's for a bunch of little kids. It's called Bring a Buddy, Break a Board. So it's a way to bring people in for free. So it's a free event. I always talk about free events and paid events. And, back in the day, and even today, I always try to encourage people to do a minimum of 2 events per month. And that could be a free event or paid event. And that could be in-person, virtual, whatever. But I'm right now, for the sake of this talk, I'm teaching guys about in-person events. So I did this Bring a Buddy, Break a Board day. I was absolutely terrified. I was like, okay, I'm going to follow the script. I'm going to follow the formula that my coach told me, because you know what? I paid him to help me, and he knows best because he has what I want to achieve, and I want to do what is working for them. So I host this event, and I'm doing all the different things with the kids, Bring a Buddy. We're doing relays and exercises and things like that. And then, when it came down, when we finished the actual workout and breaking a board and things like that, and the fun activities, the kids are excited. The parents are all watching, they're clapping, they're having fun. Then I have one of my assistants go with the kids, and I take all the parents to a back room, and I'm like shaking. I was like, okay, this is the truth. Is this really going to work? And you have to understand, at this time, when I had the martial arts school, I was barely able to keep the lights on, making $500 to $1,000 a month, and I was eating peanut butter and jelly and spaghetti every single day. So it was definitely a struggle and a belief for me to break through, that people were even willing to pay for what I was about to present to them. So I take them to the back room, and I'm sitting down with them, and I'm giving feedback and say, hey, you know what? I want to present to give you guys an opportunity to be able to be part of our program. And you got to keep in mind, at this moment, I'm having like month-to-month programs for them to sign up. They're paying like $50 a month, come show up, cash or check, or whatever like that. Had no automated electronic way for them to be able to pay. And that's the way I was getting by. But when I take them to the back room, I'm presenting this offer, and I'm saying, hey, you know what? I have my Black Belt Club, which is going to be, I think it was around $125, $150 a month for a 12-month agreement. Or I have this 36-month contract where it's our Masters Club, and it's including more value. So they get to be part of our demo team. They get to be part of our competition team. They get to have these special weapons class and all these different things to give more value to be able to sign up. But it was for 36 months. So we have our Black Belt Club, and we have our Masters Club, and our basic program, and I'm presenting this. And by the time I finished, I walked away from that one day, that one event, with over $7,500 in monthly reoccurring revenue for the next 36 months. And that's where my entire life changed. And when it came to in-person events. And so I was like, wow, I actually had something of high value that I presented to my ideal client that had a problem and need that they wanted. And then when I presented to them, barely any of them blinked an eye, and all of them signed that paper saying, yes, I'm in. It changed my life. It changed my life from that day on, because I was able to duplicate that same exact process into 7 different businesses that I built for my own, but also be able to teach hundreds of different people to be able to do the same thing for their businesses in many different industries. I've done it into the martial arts school. I've been able to duplicate that into a fitness business where I expanded my Power Fit Bootcamp into 4 different cities. in less than three years. I've been able to do it into a franchise publication. I've been able to do it to an advertising agency, my consulting business, and now our Business Leaders Network. So the system works when it comes to it, but you got to make sure you have something compelling that people want, but you have to have the belief that you are worth more than you are right now. You have to have the offer that's so irresistible that everyone wants to say yes to, and you got to make sure that you are giving people that guarantee to eliminate that risk. Why should they sign up for it right now, and why should it be done today? So we moved from St. Louis, Missouri to Northern Virginia, right outside of DC in 2016. I shut down my fitness business, and DC, Northern Virginia, has 58% higher cost of living. We're moving down to one source of income, so just me, because we were expanding our family and having our first child. And I was terrified. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I got some money saved up from the businesses that I've done, from one business I sold and things like that, but I still had this reoccurring debt that I accumulated from businesses in the past. And I went out there and hustled, and I was, out there driving Uber. I was out there, doing some sales jobs, and then I was building 2 new businesses of my own. And while I was getting my consulting business off the ground, I leaned back to the fundamentals of the things that I knew best, which is hosting events. And so I was like, okay, how am I going to be able to attract my ideal client? Well, what did I know best? I knew how to teach fitness. I knew how to teach martial arts. I knew the health and wellness space better than anyone else in this market. And I knew how to do it well. And so I made a list of over 100 plus people that were in the whole DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I looked on LinkedIn, went on Google, found their phone numbers, their emails, their names, where they're located. And I just started calling people. And I was calling people and saying, hey, you know what, JR, my name is JR, and I am with 100K Fit Pro. I'm hosting a live event, workshop for only 10 people on this day at this time. And I'm going to go over some key fundamentals that is going to be able to help you really build and grow your guys' business. Would you be interested in coming? And through about 2 weeks of going through that entire list and calling, I got about 10 people that paid me about $100 for a 2-hour workshop to show up at a location for a 2-hour event in Alexandria, Virginia. Well, I made about $1,000 for those entry tickets to be able to come in. And then out of that $1,000, I paid $200 to rent that space. So I profited $800, and then I closed 2 new people on my coaching program. That was the start of my consulting business back in 2016. And, long story short, less than a few years, I went from helping those 10 individuals to close to 1,000 people worldwide on building their business. And in the beginning, it was only working with those in the health and wellness space. But the system and processes were still the same. I ended up buying into a franchise for a publication industry and duplicated this, doing live events and bringing people together and building community and presenting an offer to be able to sell advertising and getting our neighbors together to be able to build community through that. And then I've been able to do it through my advertising agency, where I help people build funnels and systems and processes, which we still do today, combined within our Creed Consulting. And then now I'm doing it inside of Business Leaders Network. And it's not just me doing it myself, but I'm able to help other people do the exact same thing. So in-person events outweigh virtual events more than anything. And I say that because when you get people in a room, the energy is higher. People are more excited, and it's a lot harder for them to say no. And their belief increases tremendously when they're seeing other people communicate and engage and raise their hand saying, yes, I am in. On a virtual standpoint, it's really hard to be able to get people to engage, but also to stay present in the room that they are in. So I wanted to create a model that I am focusing on building a community. Within our Business Leaders Network, our mission is to build a community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders. But I had to find a way, how can I get people from all over the place to be able to bring them to one room to buy into our mission, but also to build a community so that way they are bought into how we can help serve them and help them make a bigger impact in their business. And we do that all over the country. I mean, this week alone, we've had, in several different cities. We're in about 25 different cities right now within Business Leaders Network, where I have people hosting live events on a monthly basis. This week alone, I think we had about 4 or 5 different events where we brought people together for community and to really serve them and teach them how to network, teach them how to grow, teach them what it takes to actually build a relationship that leads them to an opportunity to help grow their business. And you guys can do the same thing as well. So when it comes to your guys' business and you guys are things like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to hosting live events that can make a bigger impact. Maybe you're stuck and you're like, okay, I'm trying this online space all the time. Now, keep in mind, we're a hybrid program. We are very, very present every single week with 3 to 4 calls every week digitally online. But we also host a ton of events every single month somewhere in our country, in the United States, and now we're in Toronto, Canada. So the system, you can have a world where you are virtual and you are in person. And for us, we're a hybrid program where we are combining the both, but you guys can do the same thing as well. And it is because we really want to build community. We want people to be together, to serve each other. And, just like in the Marine Corps, we're taught to never leave another man behind. And when it comes to community, we want to make sure that we're fulfilling that mission, but we're never leaving a person behind. And we got people's backs and we're really serving them in a high capacity way so that way they can grow. So when it comes to hosting your guys' first events, the first thing that we really need to understand is, who is your target audience? We need to know the people that we want to bring into the room, but we also need to know who are the people that we want to spend time with. Because it's really hard to go out for a meal or go get a drink or hang out with people that we really don't enjoy hanging out with. So we got to figure out who are the people that we want to hang out with, but what is the problem that we want to solve? So for every single one of you guys listening to this, if you guys are thinking about, oh man, you know what, maybe I need to host a live event. Well, you got to start there. You got to say, like, who are the people that I want to do? And here's the other thing too, is when you think of events, it doesn't need to be an event where you're having hundreds and thousands of people there. You can have an event where there's 5 people, 10 people. Just like when I did my first event when I moved to Virginia, where I got 10 people into one room to pay me $100 to hear what I had to say, to be able to upsell them to my next offer. It doesn't have to be that complicated and that difficult, but you got to make sure that you understand who are you going after. At that time, I was going after those in the health and wellness space. What is the problem that I want to solve? Well, these fitness coaches and wellness nutritionists, they struggled and wanted to figure out how they can build their business. How can they generate more leads? How can they get turned to an online space? How can they, generate more opportunity so they can grow their business and make a bigger impact? The next thing you got to think about, what is the event type? There's so many different types of events that you can do, just like in the martial arts, that did bring a buddy, break a board. But you can think of, do I want a workshop type setting? A smaller, intimate setting where I bring people in, we're going deep and we're diving into real concepts and things to really help them grow. Do I want to do a summit where I am bringing a bunch of people in the room with a lot of different speakers to be able to teach, and there's more people that are helping when it comes to delivering different messages and key concepts? So you might have a summit that is a little bit bigger with more speakers, kind of like this opportunity within within CLA that we're doing virtually right now, is bringing people to a room and having more speakers do it. Or do I want to have some sort of retreat, some sort of experience that people are going to pay a higher dollar for to be able to come and have this experience? People are going to pay more for a better experience. And within our Business Leaders Network, we host one of these 3 events every single year. So we just got done with our Entrepreneur Summit in January that we hosted in DC. And then in June, we're hosting our Sales Mastery Bootcamp, which is a workshop setting. We'll have about 30 people in this room, and we're really going all out and whining and dining them, giving them an experience. They're going to be dressed in the nines and just really taking business serious, but going down deep into a plan that they can employ to help them build their business, and talking about AI, talking about social media presence, talking about how to build events, and talking about how to close opportunities and the vision of their business. Not a lot of speakers, just me and 3 other people that are going to be there. And the other 3 people are coming in from all over the country to really teach these 30 individuals on how to do that. And then in November, we do our mansion mastermind in Orlando, Florida, where we have 30 people come into this mansion, and we're giving them a really amazing experience with a helicopter ride, going to Disney, really studying and learning about Walt Disney and emotional intelligence, and how emotional intelligence can help you guys build your business, how it affects the growth of your leadership, but the growth of your clients as well. And really, captivating and teaching you guys about culture and retention and how to keep clients. So for you and your business, you want to think about, like, going into this new year, 2024, what kind of events can I do? And I want to encourage you guys, all of you should be able to do at least 3 big events per year. But do I want a workshop? Do I want a summit? Or do I want to have a retreat and type experience? And you could do one of all 3. It's up to you on what you want to do. But then that next thing, once you figure out who your target audience is and the problem that you're solving, but also the type of event you want to do, I always make the next step is book it. Like, you got to schedule it. You got to book it. That is like in the beginning of the entire process, because if you're not taking time to book it, then you're not having any accountability to say you're going to do it. So many people I talk to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do an event someday. Hey, I plan on next year doing an event. Maybe at the end of the year, I'm going to do an event. But the problem is it never actually comes. So when you book that event, even if it's going to be 3, 6, 12 months from now, you need to book it. You need to put a deposit down. You need to plan it and start telling people about it, because that is what's going to hold you accountable to actually get it done. Once you book your event, then you got to plan your expenses. Don't fall into the trap of things like, hey, you know what? Other events are selling them for $100, so maybe I'll sell it for $100. Well, you sell it for $100, but the cost per head is roughly $200, $300, $400. Now you're going to be in the hole for so much money, and then you're going to spend so much time and energy, and now you lost a lot of money by hosting this event when you could have been in a profit. So before you figure out any type of pricing for your event, you really need to figure out what is the total expenses that you need to have that it's going to cost for your event. And there's a lot of hidden cost that people don't even think about. It's like, oh, you know what? I'll do a room block at a hotel. The reality is a room block itself is going to make you broke if you don't have the contract set up correctly. And it's one of the key words that you want to make sure that anytime you do a room block at a hotel for the people coming is that you have a courtesy block. And the reason why a courtesy block is important, because you don't want to be tied to the rooms that are not being sold at your event. I'll never forget, about 5, 6 years ago, I did an event. I didn't know any of the rules. I was like, oh yeah, I'll book the hotel, and I'll have about 20 different rooms. What I come to find out, once we did our event, a lot of people end up sharing a room together and to save some extra money. And I had 10 rooms that didn't get booked. And then the hotel tried to hold me responsible for $17,000. I ended up getting out of it, but it was definitely a problem. So I want to wrap this up on a couple different things. There's more to the process, and understand your expenses, then creating your offer after you know your break even. Understand your marketing process, whether you're going to do free or paid traffic, and exactly how you're going to deliver your message. But more importantly, I want you to understand the 3 ways you make money from an event. 1 is ticket sales, 2 is through sponsorships, and 3 is through your upsells. But if you want to have a profitable event, if you want to generate more leads, and if you're like, hey, you know what, I'm stuck, I want to know how I can get out of this rock or out of this hole and building my business, I want to encourage you guys to really look at hosting your next in-person live event, because that is the one way that's been able to get me to where I'm going to go. And anytime I'm in a struggle where I'm like, man, I really need to make an extra $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, I would say, well, okay, let me put together an event. What is the process for it? I go through the process. I start thinking about the things that it takes to actually build that event. And when I do, then I start going through the model and everything that I just taught you. Hopefully this resonates with you guys. If you guys would like to touch base and learn more about me, just go to, or send me an email at jr@blnteam.com. That's blnteam.com. Let's connect. And I will love the opportunity to be able to help you guys build your next profitable event, because reality is you don't need to go broke to do an event. You don't need to lose money. You don't need to break even. But all of you guys have the opportunity and the skill set to create a profitable event so that you can generate more leads, make a bigger impact, and get out there and grow your business. So if that resonates with you and you have more questions in the processes on how to actually build and grow your next profitable event, I would love that opportunity. Go to jr@blnteam.com. That's jr@blnteam.com. And the last phrase I want to lead you guys with is asking yourself, what is the one thing that you guys are most committed to? That you're going to be resilient even through the most difficult times, showing up every day, giving your best, and having the mental and physical discipline to complete your mission. That is your creed. So what are you committed to? What do you be resilient even through the most difficult times, showing up every day, giving your best, and have the mental and physical discipline to complete your mission? Hopefully this resonates with all of you guys today. Hopefully I encourage you guys, letting you know that you have what it takes to actually build and profit from your next event. And I would love the opportunity to be able to serve you and help you guys go out there and make an impact and a bigger difference. Till next time, simplify.
Thank you for engaging with this session of Thrive. As we continue with our next speaker, remember the insights and strategies shared are steps towards your transformative journey this year. Stay connected for more empowering talks. The Connected Leaders Academy is committed to your ongoing journey of growth and excellence. Remember, this journey is just beginning. Let's keep the momentum going. Join our community at www.connectedleadersacademy.com.